Okay, so I made a quick video about the principles and what I don't agree with all of them, principles behind Agile Manifesto. But I have more to show you about what I think about Agile. Um, I made a video somehow. This is the third time I made this video. The first two, I didn't have the mic on, so I'm building it again. So I'm hungry. I haven't lunch today. No, but again, just I want to show you today what I think is about wrong with Agile Manifesto. Why I think it's a beautiful document that in practice doesn't work. There is many complexities when you work in system developer as a system developer, as a software developer. But I'm going to show you my personal opinion. I'm going to give you the contrast between my personal opinion, the principles, and other personal opinions and other articles. I'm not gonna get biased on this, but I hope you get my point at the end of the video. Um, in my last video, I show you the principles, and I read about why I think most of them are beautiful in principle but not in practice. But I want to show you today one of my most important posts that it's not important. It was a post that I wrote that, where is it? I have it here. I wrote a post about Agile, my personal opinion, and it got like almost 3,000 impressions in less than a week. And I'm going to read it really quick so you can see one of my statements. I was reading about Agile methodologies by then, and I was really amazed how much different perspective from different people changed my perspective about Agile methodologies. Um, so let me read you this box. I was told by several managers and Scrum experts that I had to be at the 9 a.m. meeting all mornings, and it was a mandatory thing. This is normal in many companies. I even discussed with my most experienced and best software engineer friends. I have a lot of friends, and a lot of them are very good. Um, some of them are managers already. If they really believe the Agile methodology were indeed creating the famous loop of shipping faster and betting on their teams. I rejected the tech lead position after being under dozens of meetings with daily without accomplishing anything. I even read two of the books below and many others. Consequently, in the end, I believe in Agile. Okay, so in my early career, I believe in Agile. Why? Because if you compare the Agile methodology with the other methodology, um, it makes sense somehow. Even when in practicality I was seeing the waste of resources and abundance of unnecessary constraints and wasted time when building systems with my teams. For over 5 years, I stopped listening to my superstitious feeling that Agile does not work, but thanks to Somer Sarkar, I'm not blindfolded anymore. This is a guy that I'm following, and I'm reading almost everything that he put here in LinkedIn because I think he is very smart. He's older than me. He's been in the industry for many years. I have a video showing some perspective on other topics in engineering, so you can check it out here in my channel. So I'm still finding why my brain and my reasoning blunder when I was experiencing a very distinct feeling. The only answer I got when said hundreds of times every lie, small or big, becomes true. And I think this is effective. I read the Practice of Scaling Lean Agile Development, and I also learned the Large Scale Scrum book. And just put this image so the LinkedIn algorithm can take the post. But I receive a lot of responses. In this specific blog post, I received a lot of responses. One pattern that I realized that I found is that all those guys that has agile coach, or scrum master, product owner, something like that, they were always defending their point. So they were always against my statement here. Okay, and almost all engineers, people, developers, managers that were in somehow had some knowledge of the technical side, they had a different statement. They didn't agree or disagree totally with the with the agile methodology. They have things that they knew it wasn't working, and they have things that they new, it works, but not with all team. And this is one of the main problems that I want to highlight here in this video. Agile is the methodology that's been used for so many years, and still most companies, most people, most teams, most manager, most want to use it. It's like if you have like a piece of box that is squared and you want to put it inside different hole types. It's a circle hole, a triangle hole, something like that. And still there are a lot of people using it. And sometimes it's very hard to use this type of methodologies because when you follow the principles, every time you have constraints in the systems, principles is a set of constraints somehow. Principles is a set of characteristics that create constraints because it doesn't give you the ability to think differently, right? So you create constraints when you read this methodology. You create constraints around the methodology itself because you want to use what the methodology uses, right? You want to use the methodology. So if you want to fit all teams or teams or products or business models inside this methodology, for me is insane. It's very hard to do, and that's my main problem. That's my biggest problem with Agile. Okay, Agile methodologies. There is a lot of good responses here. I share other responses to other persons here. And some guy also highlighted the Amplium methodology, which is based on first principle of knowledge work. I really like it. I have the document here for you can read it. But basically, it gives you like a framework that where changes and a way of thinking is different. I'm not gonna read it because it's not about agile, but I will put these details detailed document so you can read it, so you can see how different methodologies, different way of thinking on how to approach this problem. Because I believe the main problem that Agile try to solve is cheap software faster and better, which I believe most of the time it doesn't help. It doesn't help using this methodology with different teams, with the same teams, with the same persons, with the same, in different business models. Okay, but I'm going to highlight another post for Sarkar. Okay, so I just shared my post. Let me see if I find it here. So this is the post, and the post title is very hard because this guy is very hard in the words with the Agile people. Why Agilists will remain forever unemployed. To start, you need to look at Leon Kaimovich paper. This is the paper. Okay, I have the paper here, which basically states the constraints around any systems. Okay, it causes symptom diagnosis and proposed treatment. It's Adam-Hughes syndrome. Okay, so I will let the paper here for you can read it too. But I think this post is a great summary of what this paper is going to tell you. This article starts with the symptoms of an organization condition, which is endemic to large company and organizations. Named in honor of Core Adams and Mike Hughes, Adam-Hughes syndrome (AGS) is caused by the lack of attention to building and maintaining organizational problem-solving and decision-making networks, which performs the role of a nervous system. Next, the article shows how to diagnose the result state where the pain of inability to achieve organizational goals is managed by a refusal to deal with reality at all levels of organization hierarchy. It mirrored the plight of each individual facing the despair cognitive dissonance associated with losing the ability to conduct a meaningful life. The individual condition is amplified by the state of the organization and vice versa. Lastly, in order to suggest a possible cure, the article will go into the dynamics leading up to the ailment and the processes triggered by it. The treatment involved three interrelated components. First, creating a temporary scaffolding that allows individuals to incrementally rebuild their confidence in their ability to achieve meaningful organizational goals. Second, putting in place a foundation for designing well-working problem-solving processes. And third, building a behavioral analytics-based system for monitoring the health of the PSDMN, which is just the problem-solving and decision-making network. These three-pronged approaches is meant to bring about a genuine recovery instead of providing palliative care. So he basically used these three items as a general framework that can be used in any company. Okay, it's framework that can be used to achieve goals, to make people better, and to analyze the matrix of those people trying to achieve these goals. This is what I understand of this paragraph. The essential feature of Adam-Hughes syndrome is that at all levels of management, as well as rank and file, have lost hope that organizational objects can be achieved. The fact of losing heart, in turn, is carefully obfuscated. In other words, to avoid cognitive and moral dissonance, as well as the dangers of being sidelined or even terminated, employees at all levels of organization hierarchy stop trying and even start resisting the awareness of the organization and their own inability to do what makes sense from the vantage point of creating value as every customer needs. A particular kind of filtering, which is meant to protect everybody involved from the pain of clearly seeing reality, is created by altering decision making at all of its three stages in the way that 1. Validates and relevant knowledge is not generated. 2. Reliable dissemination of knowledge is obstructed. And 3. Utilization of knowledge is impeded and misplaced. And this is very important. And this is one of the problems with the methodologies and with the not only methodologies, but we're talking about agile methodologies. I'm not going to be generalizing here. But this is one of the most important things that I've been seeing on my career. Okay, there's this kind of scrum master, agile coaches, or agile mentors that they have a fixed mind and they obstruct the knowledge that is being created by the developers, between the developers, the business, and the managers. I recently had an opportunity to work in a team where the scrum master, she was more than the scrum master. She was a nice person, but she was obfuscating all the information we developers delivered to her. And we realized this in one meeting that we had with the manager later. For some reason that we didn't knew, we didn't understand, she was just obstructing the channel of communication and it was making our projects fail. And this is happening in all levels of any organization. And I've seen this a lot. And the more you are closer to the seniors or to the managers or to the leads, you will see how these type of persons they hold themselves sometimes information in order to make them look good. And this is another problem that Agile present, in my opinion. It's very hard to have transparent people in the organization that create value and knowledge. And they care about the customer at all levels. It's very hard. In my opinion, it's very hard. I have another point here. I'm not going to present a lot of different perspective because that would be a bias. This will be you will think that this will be a biased video, but this is a Eric Mayer is very famous. Agile must be destroyed once and for all. He was basically tired of um, of all the meetings, and I think Mayer said in this specific conference that we should be worried more about writing good code than all this process. I kind of disagree in somehow because at the end you need a process, you need systems in place so you can achieve your goals, right? So let's read a little bit. Eddie Mayer, Agile must be destroyed once and for all. Enough of the stand-up meeting, please. Just write some code. This dude he's tired of morning meetings like myself. Okay, a couple of months back, Dutch computer scientist Eric Meyer gave an outspoken and distinct anti-Agile talk at the Reactor Dev Day in Finland. Agile is a concept that we have to eliminate from the industry, said Meyer. Harsh words for a methodology that started in the 19th as a lightweight alternative to bureaucratic and inflexible approaches to software development. The Agile Manifesto is a statement for a number of developer gurus exposing four principles: individual interactions over processor tools, working software over comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration over contract negotiation, responding to changes over following plan. What is wrong with Agile? Major thesis is that we talk too much about code, we don't write enough code. Basically, he was he was stating that the argument that he's using in this article is that sometimes some teams spend too much time talking, planning, and not writing code. And this is true too. Okay, this is also true. A standard meeting in Scrum are annoying interruption at best, or at worst, one of the mechanisms or subtle control where managers drift a team while giving the illusion of shared leadership. We should end Scrum and Agile, he says. We are developers, we write code. So this is a statement that I agree and I disagree at the same time. Sometimes you need this type of meetings. Sometimes what I do disagree is you need them all days. I also agree with that is Scrum meetings has become on some companies a way for manager and leadership understand what you are working with or what you have to do or what you're being somehow late, right? Which in general, if you are a good manager, in my opinion, you don't need to use this type of scrum meetings where you have like 20 people, maybe depend on the size of your team, doing all this type of stuff. So let's continue reading. Even test-driven development, where developers write tests first to subsequently verify the behavior of their code. Man, we're going to have a test-driven development video too, because this is another fancy word that I don't agree totally. Okay, but again, so these guys talks about how this type of buzzwords and methodologies are making you and blocking you to write good code, to write more system, and to deliver more software. Still, there is a lot of persons that believe Scrum has some abilities to make the total goal that I just stated in the beginning of this video, build cheaper, better product faster. I believe that this is true in some ways, and I believe that in some others is not. It depends. It's just a methodology you can use. It's just a methodology that maybe you cannot use, but you can maybe take some good strategies that you have been using for many years in your team. So my total and my final point, after just presenting the principles, a few different arguments from different angles of perspective, is this: use sprint, uses agile methodology if you think it's going to make your team achieve your goals faster. If not, start eliminating and use simplicity as your main goal. The primary goal of a team, of a software engineer team, is achieve the goals, and what the goals should be related to delivery software faster, cheaper, and better. See you in the next video, and I hope this type of video give you some different perspective about software engineering, and that's my intent with it. Share your comments here. See you in the next video. Bye.